If you want to protect your heart, prevent clogged arteries, and live a longer, healthier life, then pay close attention. Because today, I'm going to reveal what I believe is the #1 best meal to clean out your arteries. This isn't going to be the typical advice you hear from the American Heart Association or mainstream nutrition guidelines. In fact, what I'm about to share with you might shock you, because it turns much of that advice upside down. But if you stick with me, you'll not only understand why our arteries get damaged in the first place. Let's start with the part of your body most people never think about: the endothelial layer. This is the delicate inner lining of your blood vessels, the surface that comes into direct contact with your blood every second of every day. The endothelium is like the command center of your arteries. It regulates blood pressure, decides when to dilate or constrict blood vessels, filters waste as blood passes through the kidneys, prevents dangerous clots, and even plays a role in your immune system. Without a healthy endothelium, your arteries become stiff, inflamed, and prone to blockages. Here's the surprising part. The endothelium primarily uses glucose for energy, but you don't need to consume sugar to fuel it. Your body can produce all the glucose it needs. What's really critical is insulin, the hormone that allows glucose to enter those endothelial cells. And here's where the problem begins. Most people today suffer from some degree of insulin resistance, caused by a diet overloaded with carbohydrates and constant snacking. When your cells stop responding properly to insulin, they don't get the fuel they need. The result? The endothelium weakens, inflammation increases, and arteries start to clog. Now, let's talk about one of the body's natural defenders: nitric oxide. This powerful molecule relaxes and widens your arteries, keeps them flexible, and ensures smooth blood flow. Without enough nitric oxide, your blood vessels become stiff and your blood pressure rises. So how do we support nitric oxide? Vitamin D is one of the strongest triggers. Low vitamin D levels are strongly linked to high blood pressure because the body can't produce enough nitric oxide without it. Arginine, an amino acid, is another nitric oxide booster. Many people take it in supplement form. Testosterone also increases nitric oxide. Unfortunately, exposure to plastics and environmental chemicals has led to lower testosterone levels, especially in men. Magnesium plays multiple roles. It relaxes muscle spasms, lowers stress hormone cortisol, and helps prevent calcium deposits in the arteries. Vitamin K2 works together with magnesium and vitamin D to keep calcium where it belongs, in your bones, not in your arteries. This combination of nutrients is like a shield for your endothelium, protecting your arteries from hardening and narrowing. Here's where things get controversial. Mainstream health authorities tell us to eat plenty of whole grains and seed oils, and to avoid saturated fats and red meat. But when you dig deeper, this advice doesn't hold up. Take Cheerios, for example. They carry the American Heart Association Heart Healthy label. But to qualify, a food only needs 51% whole grains. The other half can be refined grains, added sugars, and other processed junk. Is that really heart healthy? And seed oils, like soybean or canola oil, are heavily promoted as good for your heart. Yet, they're heavily processed, prone to oxidation, and can raise insulin levels, fueling the very insulin resistance that damages your arteries. Meanwhile, red meat is demonized because it contains cholesterol and saturated fat. But let's not forget, your heart is a muscle, and muscle requires nutrient-dense protein to stay strong. Red meat provides zinc, B vitamins, iron, and other nutrients critical for cardiovascular health. Ironically, coconut oil has more cholesterol per teaspoon than several ounces of steak. But mainstream advice doesn't attack coconut oil the way it does red meat. Something doesn't add up. The bottom line, the statistics on heart disease are still getting worse, despite decades of following mainstream heart-healthy guidelines. Clearly, the standard approach isn't working. So, what meal actually supports arterial health? The answer is a low-carbohydrate, nutrient-dense, ketogenic-style meal. By avoiding excessive carbs, you keep insulin low, bypass insulin resistance, and allow your endothelium to function properly with ketones as an alternative fuel. Here's the meal I recommend: grass-fed red meat, a hamburger patty, steak, or similar. This provides highly bioavailable protein, zinc to support testosterone, and other nutrients your heart needs. Top it with raw cheese, which is rich in vitamin K2 to keep calcium out of your arteries. A side salad with arugula. Arugula naturally boosts nitric oxide and provides vitamins C and E, both important for vascular health. A handful of pumpkin seeds. These tiny seeds are packed with magnesium, zinc, and selenium, all essential for nitric oxide production and artery protection. This simple combination delivers protein for muscle repair, minerals for arterial relaxation, and antioxidants to fight oxidative stress, all while keeping carbs low and insulin under control. Finally, let's talk about one of the most overlooked but powerful nutrients for your arteries, vitamin D3. You can't realistically get enough from food unless you live on seal fat like traditional Arctic populations. Sun exposure is the best source, but in winter, or if you spend most of your time indoors, you'll need a supplement. The recommended dose? Around 10,000 IU daily as a maintenance level. This not only supports nitric oxide, but also strengthens your immune system, bones, and overall health. When you put it all together, the best way to clean out your arteries isn't through low-fat cereals, vegetable oils, or so-called heart-healthy processed foods. It's through nutrient-rich, low-carb meals that support insulin sensitivity, boost nitric oxide, and deliver the raw materials your heart and blood vessels need to thrive. So the next time you want to nourish your heart, think grass-fed red meat with raw cheese, a fresh arugula salad, a handful of pumpkin seeds, and plenty of vitamin D. That's the kind of meal that truly supports clean, flexible arteries and long-term cardiovascular health.
The health of your arteries depends not just on what you eat in a single meal, but on the overall balance of nutrients that support vascular repair, reduce inflammation, and prevent oxidative stress. When arteries get clogged, the underlying process is not simply cholesterol sticking to the walls. It's far more complex. It begins with tiny injuries to the endothelium, often caused by high blood sugar, insulin resistance, and chronic inflammation. Over time, these micro-injuries trigger the body's defense mechanisms, which deposit cholesterol as a patch. This is why focusing only on lowering cholesterol with medication does not solve the real problem. The true solution lies in protecting the endothelial lining and optimizing nutrient intake. One of the most powerful strategies is to focus on antioxidants and phytonutrients. Compounds found in certain vegetables, herbs, and even spices directly support nitric oxide production, reduce free radical damage, and keep arteries flexible. Take beets, for example. They are naturally high in nitrates, which the body converts to nitric oxide. Drinking beet juice or adding roasted beets to a salad can significantly improve blood flow. Similarly, pomegranate has been studied for its ability to reduce oxidative stress and even reverse arterial plaque buildup in some cases. Another overlooked factor is healthy fats. For decades, fats were demonized, but science has revealed that the type of fat matters more than the amount. Omega-3 fatty acids from sources like wild-caught salmon, sardines, or even flax seeds and chia seeds reduce inflammation, thin the blood slightly, and improve the flexibility of arterial walls. They also balance out the excessive omega-6 fatty acids common in seed oils, which promote inflammation when consumed in high amounts. By correcting the omega-3 to omega-6 ratio, you create an internal environment that discourages arterial stiffness. We also cannot ignore minerals. Magnesium, as mentioned earlier, is crucial, but so is potassium. Potassium works hand in hand with sodium to regulate fluid balance and blood pressure. Unfortunately, most modern diets are high in sodium but low in potassium. Foods rich in potassium like avocados, spinach, and mushrooms not only support vascular relaxation but also reduce the workload on the heart. Protein quality also plays a role. Plant-based proteins may appear attractive for their low fat, but their amino acid profile is often incomplete and less bioavailable. Animal proteins, especially from grass-fed sources, provide essential amino acids, heme iron, and B vitamins that support red blood cell formation and oxygen delivery. These nutrients directly contribute to cardiovascular resilience. Another element to consider is fasting and meal timing. Constant eating keeps insulin levels elevated, which accelerates insulin resistance. By incorporating periods of fasting, whether intermittent fasting or simply extending the time between dinner and breakfast, you allow insulin to drop, giving your arteries a chance to rest and recover. Fasting also triggers autophagy, a process where the body cleans out damaged cells and regenerates healthier ones, including cells in the vascular system. Finally, hydration is often underestimated. Blood is about 90% water, and dehydration thickens it, making it harder to flow smoothly through arteries. Drinking adequate water throughout the day ensures that nutrients and oxygen are delivered efficiently while waste products are removed without straining the vascular system. Adding electrolytes, especially during hot weather or after exercise, helps maintain the balance needed for proper vascular function. Taken together, these strategies, boosting antioxidants, balancing fats, optimizing minerals, prioritizing protein quality, incorporating fasting and staying hydrated, create a foundation where the endothelium thrives. When combined with the artery cleaning meal we discussed earlier, they create a comprehensive lifestyle approach that not only prevents blockages but can gradually restore arterial health.
One of the biggest misconceptions about heart disease is that it develops suddenly. In reality, arterial damage builds up slowly over decades, often beginning in childhood. By the time symptoms like chest pain or high blood pressure appear, the arteries have already endured years of silent stress. This is why prevention through diet and lifestyle is so powerful. It allows you to intervene before damage becomes irreversible. One crucial aspect is inflammation control. Chronic low-grade inflammation acts like a slow fire in your arteries. Even if cholesterol levels are normal, inflammation can turn harmless LDL particles into oxidized LDL, which is far more dangerous and sticky. What fuels inflammation? Refined sugars, processed foods, trans fats, and excess alcohol. On the other hand, anti-inflammatory foods like turmeric, ginger, garlic, and green tea act like fire extinguishers, cooling the system down and preventing damage. Garlic in particular has been studied for its ability to reduce blood pressure and slow the progression of arterial plaque. Another area worth exploring is gut health. The gut microbiome produces metabolites that influence the cardiovascular system. Supporting gut health with probiotic-rich foods like sauerkraut, kefir, or yogurt can lower TMAO production and improve nutrient absorption, both of which benefit the heart. Fiber from vegetables also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, further reducing inflammation and supporting arterial health. Sleep quality is another silent factor. Poor sleep increases cortisol, raises blood pressure, and worsens insulin resistance. People who consistently get fewer than 6 hours of sleep are at a much higher risk for heart disease compared to those who prioritize restorative rest. Creating an evening routine, avoiding screens before bed, and ensuring adequate magnesium intake can dramatically improve sleep quality. Stress management cannot be ignored either. Emotional stress has a direct impact on the heart by spiking adrenaline and cortisol, which constrict arteries and increase blood pressure. Chronic stress also encourages unhealthy habits like overeating or drinking alcohol. Simple practices such as deep breathing, meditation, walking outdoors, or even spending time with loved ones can lower stress hormones and protect your arteries long-term. Now let's bring this back to practical steps. If you want to design your daily eating plan to protect your arteries, here's an example. Breakfast. Skip it or have something light like black coffee with a handful of nuts to maintain low insulin levels. Lunch. A large salad with arugula, avocado, pumpkin seeds, olive oil, and grilled salmon for omega-3s. Dinner. Grass-fed beef with sautéed spinach, mushrooms, and a side of roasted beets or pomegranate seeds for nitric oxide support. This type of plan combines nutrient density, low-carb intake, and anti-inflammatory foods, all working together to heal and protect your arteries. What's important to realize is that no single nutrient or food works in isolation. Arterial health is the result of synergy, the way proteins, fats, minerals, vitamins, and lifestyle habits interact. When you remove the damaging foods and replace them with nutrient-rich whole options, you set your body up for repair instead of decline. The great news is that arteries are not static. They can adapt, heal, and even reverse some damage when given the right conditions. Studies show that with consistent dietary and lifestyle changes, arterial flexibility improves, blood pressure normalizes, and the risk of heart attack or stroke drops dramatically. And this is why it's so important to rethink everything we've been told about heart-healthy eating. It's not about low-fat or processed grains. It's about real food, strategic fasting, optimal nutrients, and lifestyle balance. If you've made it this far, it means you care about your health and your future. So I'd love to hear from you. What dietary or lifestyle changes are you willing to make to protect your arteries? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to Live Healthy Every Day. Follow and turn on notifications so you never miss out on practical, science-backed health tips that can really change your life.